Ah, shit. Get your tea and your popcorn because we have hit yet another psychological jackpot. I just want to talk about this whole thing. There's this influencer who's going viral, and I see women in the unambiguous black community on YouTube. They're talking shit about this girl, saying that basically she's a catfish. She looks different. She doesn't deserve her wealth. She doesn't deserve anything. But where was the smoke for Pinky Doll? Pinky Doll edited her entire phenotype. She edited her entire ethnicity. So that's different than somebody just editing their chin. And I've noticed on black female YouTube, they have a tendency to come for rich women who are not dark skinned. Like, why does nobody call out the dark skinned catfish on social media? Why does nobody call out the fact that a lot of dark skinned black women use extreme filters to lighten their skin? And then they plaster on a 613 wig, and they're literally not only putting on an entirely different face, but also a totally different phenotype. So I just wanted to call out the hypocrisy because you had women on black YouTube kind of, I guess you could say, bashing or shaming this white girl, basically making it like, oh, she's a catfish. And then I noticed they were also talking shit about Kim Kardashian, saying, oh, she also looks different in real life. She's not as pretty. And I've noticed that the one community who complains the most about not fitting the beauty standard, that's the same community that you see being the harshest on other women when they don't fit the beauty standard. It's almost this mindset of, if I don't get to be considered pretty, you can't either. And I noticed there's this culture of calling out every other woman for being a catfish. I've just noticed that, they say that light-skinned women are catfish. They're saying Kim Kardashian's a catfish. They're saying this white girl's a catfish. But nobody in the black YouTube space called out Pinky Doll. In fact, they actually praised Pinky Doll. And they said, ha ha, good for you. You got rich off of people who were colorists. Good for you, Pinky Doll. You were getting your bags. Where's that energy for this influencer? This influencer became a multi-millionaire. And honestly, when I saw the photos of this girl that they were trying to claim looked so different, I was very underwhelmed because she really doesn't look that different. I mean, she still looks like the same person. It just looks like maybe her chin is smaller in some of the like videos and stuff. I've never heard of this woman until today, so I'm not familiar with her videos. But from what I can see, she really doesn't look that different. She still looks like the same person or the same phenotype. Pinky Doll, on the other hand, she has an entirely different skin complexion. She has an entirely different hair color from root to tip, and her chin is smaller and her face looks more narrow. And I see this discourse where people are talking about filters and they're like, oh, well, it's really bad that you're using filters and these influencers, they're ruining my self-esteem. My self-esteem has gone down because I see all these pretty girls on social media. Ma'am, if you looking at another girl's Instagram photo makes your entire self-esteem disappear, then you never had any self-esteem to begin with. It is not the responsibility of influencers and celebrities to build your self-esteem. Do you see that external locus of control? Oh, well, you're a beauty makeup guru, so you need to build my self-esteem. No, these are literal makeup artists. They're just doing their job. They are not responsible for being your therapist. So I find it interesting that this girl is getting canceled. And by the way, this girl actually came on to TikTok and she said that she doesn't feel like she's attractive or whatever, or she knows that she's unattractive, but she enjoys making her makeup videos and, basically making money off of that. Notice how when Pinky Doll did that, as a matter of fact, Pinky Doll didn't even address her looking different. She just said, oh, I've always been this color. I've always looked like this. And that's actually not the case because when Pinky Doll showed up in person for that Twitch streaming thing, she showed up in person to an event, she was unrecognizable. And so which one do you think is worse? Editing your chin or editing your entire skin color, hair color, face shape, facial features, and pretending to be a completely different ethnicity so that you can cater to the male gaze? Because at least this girl, she is a makeup person, so she's catering really to the female gaze. She's not catering to the male gaze. Pinky Doll was specifically catering to the male gaze in particular, and she was making money off of men who smexually fetishize lighter-skinned black women. So I find it interesting that nobody in black YouTube is talking about Pinky Doll. They want all the attention to go on all the other phenotypes of women. Has anybody noticed that? Why is it that Black YouTube, they never call out women of their own phenotype being catfish? Also, what is the standard for catfish? What makes you a catfish? Is it using filters? Because in terms of filters, Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, they're creating those filters because people are using them. There is a demand for filters. That's why they do it. It's because there's a market for it. So all of these filtering apps and stuff and video filters, clearly thousands of people are using it. It's not just this random white girl. It's not just Kim Kardashian. Those are just the women that you pedestalize. And so that's why you're trying to cancel them. You're mad because you felt like you couldn't measure up to their beauty with the filter. And I think that's the real reason that some women are mad. They're mad because even when they put the filter on, they still can't get enough likes. They still don't go viral. They still can't make it as an influencer, even with several filters layered on top of each other. So if the argument is using filters or altering your appearance makes you a catfish, okay, let's keep that same energy across the board then. Wearing lace fronts is a catfish then. Changing your skin complexion and wearing foundation that's several shades lighter, that is catfishing then. Wearing these giant caterpillar eyelashes and, layering all these different Spanx and waist trainers over the top of each other under your clothes, wearing several girdles, okay, so then that's catfishing. Has anyone ever noticed how when it comes to the Black community, nothing is catfishing? You could get a BBL, no smoke for the plastic surgeries in the Black community, no smoke for BBLs, boob jobs, tummy tucks, nose jobs, ethnic rhinoplasties. They were praising Kelly Rowland for getting her nose job. Which one do you think is more extreme? Editing your chin on a video or getting a full-blown nose job several different times and then bleaching your skin? Which one do you think is more of an extreme version of catfishing? Because do you see how the standards, they have all these double standards. If you're darker skinned and Black, you can get away with doing anything. You can completely change your appearance and it's not a big deal. But then, God forbid you're white. God forbid you're a woman of color who's not dark skinned. Then suddenly you deserve to be canceled because you're not pretty. And also, I just find it interesting that unambiguous Black women have complained so much about how hard it is to be ugly, according to their own talking points. Some of them think that they're ugly or whatever. And it's like, okay, you say that it sucks feeling like you're at the bottom of society, but now your goal is to pull down random women so they feel like they're at the bottom of society. I just feel like this whole calling these women catfish, this is just envy. I just feel like this is masked envy because they're targeting privileged rich women like Kim Kardashian. They're targeting people who are multimillionaires or people who become successful. But then you celebrate women like Pinky Doll for doing the same catfishing but in a more extreme way. And I saw them, they were coming for Asian women as well, trying to make it like Asian women are also using these extreme filters. And again, it's like, okay, so you're telling me that white women are using filters, Asian women use filters, Armenian women use filters, and suddenly unambiguous dark-skinned Black women are just the natural beauties who don't use any filters. They use no beauty enhancements whatsoever. Do you see the virtue signaling? So they want to socially punish these women for not being naturally pretty enough. It's giving misery loves company. It's this mindset of, if I'm not considered naturally beautiful, you don't get to be considered naturally beautiful either. If I spent my life feeling like I was canceled or I never had the opportunity to be a beauty influencer, you can't either. It's not fair that you're skilled at editing. And let's talk about this too. When these girls are doing all these makeup videos and stuff, do you think that the brands want to work with someone who has shitty ass videos? Do you really think that NARS or Fenty, do you think they're going to choose someone who has unpolished, lumpy, textured skin, a face full of acne? Their face looks extremely unsymmetrical. Let's be real here. When it comes to social climbing and especially advertising, companies do favor the influencers who have polished content. So you can't get mad that these women are acting like celebrities and, they're editing their photos. And again, where's the smoke for Hollywood? You bypass all these thousands of people throughout history who have edited their photos in magazines, on TV, even on movies and stuff. They literally filter and edit the actors in movies So, no smoke for the hundreds of thousands of celebrities who have existed before this girl. But suddenly with her, oh my God, it's a problem because her chin looks bigger, or, her side profile doesn't look as snatched as what it does on the photos. Ma'am, what do you look like from the side? Like, notice how the main people who talk shit about like Kim Kardashian and all these people, these are just people who can't even afford to glow up themselves. Also, I have to admit, I kind of have respect for that white girl that was posting or whatever, because I feel like if I had to choose between editing my chin versus getting a full blown reconstructive jaw surgery, I actually feel like editing my chin, that's a little bit more authentic because at least you're just editing a video versus editing your actual face and then trying to pass it off as, oh, this is just how I always looked. So notice how there's no smoke for the millions of unambiguous black women such as Kelly Rowland who have had surgeries on their face. No smoke for women like Olandria who uses filters on her photos all the time. And in fact, people have actually called out Olandria saying that she looks different in photos versus how she looked on Love Island, saying that she edits her nose and stuff. And then, of course, those people get called haters and anti-black. So no smoke for Pinky Doll, who edited her entire skin complexion and hair color and facial features. To this day, I have never seen anybody edit themselves as much as Pinky Doll. So no smoke for these three women because they're dark-skinned. But suddenly, you want to act like you're the natural beauty police when it comes to women who are not dark-skinned. And they just recently canceled Lori Harvey saying the same thing. So do you see the pattern here? Oh, well, Lori Harvey, well, she's a catfish. She doesn't look the same. Look at her hairline. Look at her under eyes. You're saying all this crap about anybody who's not dark-skinned. Everybody who's not the blackest person in the room, you want to bring it up so you can cancel them from being a beauty standard. But then when I bring up the fact that unambiguous women are the ones using the most filters, not just on images, but also in real life as well. If the argument is that beauty enhancements are a form of catfishing, okay, what community goes to the beauty supply the most? What community consumes the most beauty products and like hair extensions and all that? And my question for the people trying to cancel this white girl, who doesn't really look that different, honestly, my question is, why do you care about how she looks? Like, seriously, okay, let's say this girl is ugly. Okay, now what? Are you happy now that you called her ugly? Like, are you happy now that you were dragging her? Do you feel prettier now by calling a random woman ugly? Does it make you feel better to know that Kim Kardashian has fillers? Because I feel like this whole thing is really just a coping mechanism. It's a bunch of women who feel like they don't meet societal beauty standards trying to cope by shaming women for, getting fillers or whatever. And so it's this mindset of, oh, I must be prettier because I don't have fillers. And, she must be ugly because she does have filler. So it's this hierarchy thinking once again. They're promoting a hierarchy. Looking better in person is the most important. Well, she only has pretty photos. I look better than her in person. Well, I didn't get fillers. Well, I didn't edit my chin. So therefore, I'm superior in beauty to this white woman. I'm superior to Lori Harvey because I don't have a bad hairline. Do you see how they shame the exoticals and they say that we have a superiority complex, but the whole premise of their content is literally to develop their own superiority complex over women who are filtering or using beauty enhancements. And I've noticed that whenever it's a dark-skinned black influencer who's doing a lot of editing and stuff, they'll be like, oh, well, society already brings down dark-skinned black women. And so, she's just trying to overcome colorism. And it's like, okay, are you saying that society doesn't discriminate against ugly women? Because if anything, this woman admitted that she feels ugly. The white girl, she said that she feels ugly. She feels like she's not attractive. So why is it that you have empathy when the person is dark-skinned, but suddenly when it's a white woman saying, oh, well, I feel ugly, now all that empathy is out the window? So this is just another thing that proves my point that a lot of times in the black community, their empathy is only extended to those who are as black as possible. So if you look like Lori Harvey or if you look like Kim Kardashian or something like that, the empathy is just out the window. You are going to get slaughtered on the internet. And also, what happened to all the women on the internet who said they were deleting their social media? So it's like, how do you even know who this woman is? So you want to get back on social media so you can look up and stalk and dox and cancel this random girl. Because I saw that they were trying to pull up personal photos, like Facebook tag photos where it shows her at unflattering angles or whatever, so they can try to like cancel this girl. And I just find that interesting because if people would have done that to a dark-skinned black woman, they would be called racist. But somehow, if you're Lori Harvey, it's okay. If you're Kim Kardashian, it's okay. If you're this random white girl, it's okay. And by the way, whatever filters you're using, that does tell you what your internalized beauty standard is. So if you're using light skin filters or nose narrowing filters or, narrowing your chin, that just means that keen features and light skin, that's your internalized beauty standard. So people are mad because this woman's internal beauty standard is having a smaller chin. Do you hear how idiotic that sounds? But then if I call out that Pinky Doll's beauty standard is being light-skinned, then, I'm bullying. I'm being rude. And I also feel like when it comes to unambiguous black women, people understand that your images are a part of your social climbing journey, especially if you're going to be an influencer. Then your images are actually the most important. Your images and videos are literally determining your livelihood. So they're mad because Kim Kardashian successfully social climbed based off her looks or based off the filters or surgeries. Meanwhile, in the black community, half of the women want to get BBLs and tummy tucks. That's more extreme of a filter than just doing a photo or video. I mean, I think it's more extreme to like actually chop up your body and get a surgery. So no smoke for all the surgeries, no smoke for BBLs, no smoke for gluing down lace fronts onto your edges, so much so to where you literally go bald or get rashes on your head. So that's not as bad as making your chin smaller in a picture. Do you see how the black community moves the goalpost? If you're not unambiguous, you are not allowed to do any sort of beauty enhancing. You're not allowed to take any flattering photos. You're definitely not allowed to edit or wear lace fronts or weaves or get surgeries. But if you're dark-skinned and black, you can do everything, and then the unambiguous community will defend it. There are people right now defending Olandria's boobs, saying that they're completely natural. They're defending her cheek filler and saying, oh no, everything is just completely natural, like that's how she's always looked. There are people who are defending and praising Kelly Rowland's nose job. So that's totally different than just, you made your chin a little smaller in a freaking video. They're defending women who are getting more extreme beauty enhancements, but then canceling other women of different phenotypes for having those exact same enhancements. And then they'll say, oh, well, Lori Harvey's a fake exotical, or all these other women like Beyonce, they're fake exoticals. They bleached their skin. They did this and that. Okay, where's the smoke for Pinky Doll? Pinky Doll digitally bleached her skin. But anytime you call out someone in the dark-skinned black community, they're going to say, oh, stay out of black women's business. Stop inserting yourself into black spaces. Stop inserting yourself into black conversations. Meanwhile, you got black commentary creators inserting themselves into white influencer conversations. All this commentary about white girls. All this commentary about Kim Kardashian, but no commentary about women of your own community. And then you wonder why you're invisible. You wonder why women of your own phenotype don't become famous. Well, it's because you're not talking about them. You'd rather talk about all the light-skinned and white girls. But if you disagree with anyone in the black community, they're going to argue that you're a colorist. They're just going to call you racist. That's their number one defense. If you disagree with somebody dark-skinned, you're a colorist or racist. And then they'll call you jealous. They'll say, oh, you're just jealous of Olandria. You're just jealous of Kelly Rowland. You're just jealous of so-and-so because she's richer and prettier than you. Okay, so can't I make the same argument then? You're jealous of this white girl because she's way richer than you. Do you know how many black women were online complaining, saying that they don't get brand deals? They said that the YouTube algorithm is racist, the dating app algorithm is racist. Every algorithm is racist because they're not going viral. So you expect me to believe that suddenly nobody's jealous that this content creator has gone viral? Nobody wants those millions to be in their bank account? That's a lie. That's a coping mechanism. So putting this girl down and trying to cancel her when she really doesn't look that different to me. I mean, she just looks very polished in the beauty content and she looks normal in real life. Like, if I were to see her walking down the street, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, she's so hideous. Oh, she looks deformed. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.